one, so I'll give you one that's more unique. What you build your self-esteem around matters. And I used to build my self-esteem around the idea of being smart and right. And that's very fragile because inevitably you're going to meet people smarter than you and you're going to be wrong a lot more than you are right. So if you're building your self-esteem around those two things, you're going to end up feeling badly about yourself, which is why after film school, I felt terrible because I realized I wasn't talented. And I thought that that was an indictment of who I not only was, but who I could be, and that it was a permanent state. I failed and was a failure. So in that, you just get caught in these loops of wanting to put yourself in smaller and smaller arenas so that you're always the smartest, you're always right more than anybody else. So people don't commit suicide because they fail. They commit suicide because they believe that they're a failure and that they're never going to feel good about themselves again. So what I did was switch my self-esteem to being the learner and being able to admit that I was wrong faster than anybody else, identify the right answer faster than anybody else, and put the energy into that. And so in doing that, it's what Nassim Taleb calls an anti-fragile personality.
Is that just a decision you made? One second, you're like, you know what? I'm going to be the learner.
Literally, it's the most binary thing that ever happened to me. It is the one that, while you can't really film it because it would all be internal, it's the one thing in my story that was from 1 minute to the next.
They go, how do you find the motivation, or, how do you have this big goal and vision, and they just want some sort of purpose in life? What kind of advice can you give to them as they enter the workforce, and maybe they're working for an employee or they want to do something on their own? They want something that's really fulfilling. What kind of advice could you give to this new generation?
Well, first and foremost, understanding that this is all a process, that none of this, the language that people use here matters. So people talk about finding your passion. They talk about finding your purpose or finding your mission, and you don't find it, you develop it. So it's discovery versus development. Right now, if you think that you're going to look inward and discover a hidden mission, meaning, and purpose in your life, you're going to forever be frustrated. One, you're going to go to work. It's going to take up so much of your time and energy that you're not going to be looking inward, identifying what's really happening, which is that you have little flickers of interest in your life. And your job is to develop those first into a fascination and then into a full-blown passion. But you do that development work by fanning those flames, by engaging, by gaining mastery, by working at it, and recognizing the difference between something that is boring and hard and something that really isn't right for you. So